Hello everyone, and welcome back to another GIS lecture video. And in this lecture video, I want to review some basic statistics. Right, in specific statistics. In specific, I want to talk about some descriptive statistics, or things that describe a data set. And I want to review them in the sort of traditional sense, because when we transition to the geographic distribution context, it's going to be helpful to see how these statistics relate in one dimension along a number line, so that when we branch out into two dimensions, we see that visual intuition becoming more clear. So let's go ahead and quickly explain what I've done here. So I have a number line going from 1 to 11. And then I have a sample of 5 numbers that I've taken, and each one of these black dots here represents one of these numbers. So this black dot here at 2 represents this observation here. This 10 represents this 10. So we have 5 samples graphed out on a number line. And the statistics that I want to review are going to be mean, median, and standard deviation. Hopefully you've seen all of these before. We're going to talk about equations. Hopefully you've seen the equations before, but just so that we're all on the same page in terms of how they're calculated and what they mean with a visual interpretation relative to this number line here. Okay. So let's go ahead and start our discussion talking about the mean. So mean, or sometimes you'll see it called average, right? Or you'll see it represented mathematically as an x with a bar over it, although there's nothing special about this x. It could be any sort of placeholder variable that we want. In geography or geographic information science, you'll see an x, but you'll also often see a y, because we have, in most cases, an x coordinate and a y coordinate, because we're dealing with 2 dimensions. But for the mean, right, this x bar is going to be equal to the summation, right, of x at I equals 1 to n of x sub I over n. Right, hopefully you've seen this equation before. Just taking a step back, conceptually what the mean does is it adds all the numbers in the data set and then divides by the number of items in the data set. So what this is doing is the exact same thing, right? The summation from I equals 1 to n is just a fancy way of saying, hey, add up all of the numbers in the data set. This n is again just the number of items that we have. So in this particular case, we have 5 items, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our n is 5. So if we have that, what we can do is we can then use the information we have in the sample to just quickly calculate a sample mean. So what we can do is we can do the summation of x sub I is going to mean add all the data together. So 10 plus 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 2 over n, right? This n we know is 5 because that's just the number of things in the data set. So these numbers up here came from our sample. This number here came from counting the numbers. So if we do the math, 10 plus 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 2, you end up getting a number of equal to 26, right? Because 10 plus 5 plus 3, that's 18, plus 6, that's 24, plus 2, 26. So 26 over 5, we get a value equal to, if we do the math on that, right, 26 divided by 5 gives us a value of 5.2, right? Because 25 over 5 is 5, and then the 6 means 0.2, so 5.2. So what we can do is we can add this number to our number line here. right? This is our mean. Right, so again, right, the mean is just sum everything up, divide by the number of observations. But what is the mean telling us conceptually and visually? The mean is a measure of the center of the data set. And visually, you can see that, right? Because we've made this line right here in the center of the data set. This line is approximately where the center of this number line would be, right? If you were to go from 2 to 10, right, this would be approximately the center of that line, right? Approximately. So what we're going to do in the next video is talk about another way that we can measure the center of this line by talking about median. So again, if you have any questions, as always, please reach out. Thank you.